Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and today we're going to be setting up our sinking funds and transaction log spread. So I have my sinking funds and transaction log sheets along with some thick washi because I will be using an extra one for the transaction log. I do have some of my November spreads already set up with you guys, like the monthly and then the savings tracker in a dashboard along with the variable income and November budgets. I did also go over with you guys the savings challenge that we'll be doing or attempting for November as well. So let's flip over here. We are going to be putting our sinking funds and transaction log on both of these sheets. We'll have the sinking funds on this side and transaction log on this side. I know it's kind of like opposite, but I like having the transaction log on this side more. Before we start laying down the stickers, this planner is an Erin Condren monthly planner, and I am also using the Muji pen. This is in 0.38 if you guys are curious, since I know I always neglect to say it. But let's get started. Also, the nails that I have on, these are press-on nails. I am just using just the generic stickers with it versus nail glue, since I don't really like having long nails permanently, but it's very fun for me, especially when filming videos. I think it's so fun and pretty with like the lights and everything, and I get to see them on camera. I don't really ever have nails, so this is very different for me, so I might be struggling a little bit if you guys end up seeing it. But for sinking funds for me is just little ongoing categories. Sometimes I have it for like a certain goal to save for something. Like, I don't really have an example right now, maybe like a purse or a bike or something specific, but majority of the times my sinking funds are just ongoing for categories that don't fit into our monthly budget, which is like day-to-day categories. And those day-to-day categories consist of things that are kind of like our cash envelopes or our electronic cash envelopes. Since we don't use cash, it'll be categories like for eating out, groceries, gas. We sometimes give ourselves some allowance, and then we have a category for our pups and our daughter. But these ones is for other categories that don't get spent month to month for the most part, or I just don't really consider them a cash envelope because for our budget we just don't want it in there. I'm going to end up probably taking a thin washi from another sheet that we'll be using later, but I'm going to put this glitter washi at the bottom. I always end up setting up all of my spreads the same exact way out of habit. I don't really change them up often, but what does change is the numbers and every now and then the categories. But I'm going to go ahead and put in our lines and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I have all of the lines down. I don't think I normally put the lines down, but we did today. So let's do our categories, the amounts, and what we're going to add together. For this month, we do have a budget of what we're going to be putting in here, which we already set up together in our November budget. We set up and said that we're going to be putting $725 into our sinking funds. So $725 is what we're going to be using to separate out throughout all of the categories and fund each one. There is something different that I am going to be doing this month. Let's actually talk about that first, because I do end up putting the funds in each category with you guys. We did end up redeeming our rewards for our cash rewards, and it was $400. There was like a little bit more than 400, but we ended up just redeeming the full 400 instead, just keeping it straightforward to a full dollar amount. I'm going to be putting in here that $400 we're going to be putting directly into sinking funds. The reason why is because if you guys know how we like to budget is whatever income comes in for the current month, we put it in our savings account for the following month. So for each paycheck 1, 2, 3, 4 that we'll be receiving in the month of November, this current month, we put aside in our savings, our short-term savings. So when December comes and we set up our monthly budget for December, we already have the full amount. So for example, for November, Our budget for the month is $5,000 to fund all of our categories, and that money we already have at the beginning of the month because for October, all the paychecks that came in, we already put aside. So that means for November, we already have the money, we're good to go, so we can pay all of our bills and everything and not have to worry about timing for anything, because a lot of our bills like to come in at the beginning, and especially if our mortgage comes out at the beginning, we might not have enough money because this already exceeds one of our paychecks. But that's kind of how we like to do things. We've been doing it like this for quite some time now, and for us it really works very, very well doing it month by month. But yeah, so that's why I'm going to be writing that $400 we're going to be putting straight into our November sinking funds, which means for December we'll only have those 4 paychecks, and that'll be $5,000 after we receive all 4 paychecks in November. But I'm going to write that here real quick and I'll be right back. So cash rewards, $400 added for November sinking funds to help with the negative amounts. Since if you guys have watched my October results video, you guys will know that we have a bunch of negatives for our sinking funds. So hopefully with that additional $400, we'll be able to correct it. So in total for our sinking funds, what we have to work with is going to be that $725 plus the $400 that we redeemed from our cash rewards from our credit card. So that would be $1,125. And the money that we got from our cash rewards is just what's been accumulating the last few months, since we do only use credit cards. We don't use cash for anything, but that is what we have to work with. So let's go ahead and start with our first category for sinking funds, which is going to be car maintenance. Oh, that's not right. So it's going to be car insurance. Okay, and I know car insurance should be coming out this month as well. So for car insurance, currently we have $450 in here. What we're going to add in here is, I don't think we have to add much because our car insurance comes out every 6 months. It comes out biannually. I think we're going to call to see if it's cheaper to pay annually. The last time we checked, biannually was cheaper, but I don't know if it's still the same. So I want to call a lot of our institutions. I want to call to see if anything's changed with some of their rules. But car insurance, the last few times, or the last couple times, was $420, $427. The time before that was around $500. And then it looks like it stays around the $450-ish mark. So I'm not going to add more, but I am going to get a head start for the next time it has to come out. So I'm thinking I'm going to just add 100 since we do have a little bit extra this month. Next, we have sewer and water. Our sewer and water, we currently have $102 in here. And I don't think sewer and water comes out this month either. And if you guys are curious about the spreads I have in the back, I do have videos setting them up with you guys. These are just my 2023 spreads that I set up with you guys. I will be doing it for 2024 as well. But for sewer and water, it does not come out this month. Since both sewer and water, they come out every 3 months, but they do switch out. So water will be due in December, and water is usually around like 140 or something. But so I don't think I need to add a lot in here, so I'll just add $75 for now. So that should be covering for December. And then we have next category, which is holiday. For holiday, we currently have $291 in here. We still have to purchase Christmas presents for Dustin's family, but I also wanted to go grocery shopping for Thanksgiving, to have a whole Thanksgiving meal, and I'm a little nervous about how much it's going to cost because of groceries. This category used to be called Christmas, but I did change it to holiday to cover all the holiday expenses. But I think we're going to add $100 in here just to make sure we have enough. But then we have Pups Medical. Writing with nails is kind of hard because my pinky keeps stabbing my palm. But for Pups Medical, we currently have $120 in here. I don't think we're going to add too much, so we'll probably just add $20 in here for now. Let's see. For next category is medical. This is the category that we're currently negative in, or one of the categories that we're negative in. For medical, we are currently negative $252. And I know that we have another bill coming as well that we have to pay. I feel like this pregnancy has just been pretty pricey for whatever reason, but that is medical. I think a big reason has to do with us having to pay for our daughter's medical bills as well. Since she just turned 1 a couple months ago, she has to go to the pediatrics and stuff. We have to schedule a dentist appointment. We are so late with that, so we have to schedule a dentist appointment for her too. That is medical. I'm going to leave this blank to see what we have left over so we can really try to put a large chunk in here. But next category we have is baby, and this we currently have $250 in here. This category is for both babies. It's just for anything that they need. But for this baby that's currently in the oven, she's going to be due in 3-ish months. I do want to add some more in here than normally. We don't have to get a lot because she can just reuse things that we have, but we do have to get like another car seat. I don't really know if there's anything else. A car seat and possibly like a 2 stroller or another stroller. I'm not really sure. I really don't know, but I'm going to just put $75 in here for us to add. Then we have car maintenance. And then for car maintenance, I am going to put some money in here. We have $65 in here. We did have to get the oil change, and I think that's the only service that we really needed for this month, but I'm going to add $75 as well. Then we have gifts and treating. For gifts and treating, we definitely use this every single month. We only have $13 in here. I'm going to add $100. Next, we have our home category. Home is another category that's currently negative because we did end up upgrading some of our furniture in our home. This is $119 that is negative. That is definitely quite a bit, so I'm going to leave this blank for now too. Next, we have our dates category. And surprisingly, we're negative for dates as well. So this was $22 that we're negative for dates. Clothes. I feel like my handwriting is so inconsistent because of my nails, but for clothes category, okay, so I realized I wasn't paying attention to whether or not it was focusing, so I hope that I didn't keep going out of focus for you guys. But for clothes category, we currently have $100 in here. And I'm thinking of just adding $25. Next, we have Pups food. For Pups food, we did have to replenish last month for a couple of bags of food. So we do have 2 large dogs, but that is $11. That's negative. And I don't think we're going to have to purchase, well, at least I really hope we don't have to anytime soon, but that's going to be $100 that will fill in here because we do have to purchase food for them. I think every few months. Let me actually see, how often do we have to purchase food for them? So for Pups food, $190, that's February. Pups food, $220. So it looks like every quarter we have to purchase food for them. Normally we get 4 bags though. This time we only got 2 bags, but it was 2 large bags, like larger than the regular size that we get. So I'm hoping that that will be fine for this quarter. But that is $100 that we'll add in there. Then we have Easy Pass. For Easy Pass, we have $25 in here. I don't really think we're gonna have to use this anytime soon. I think I would just put $10. For office category, we have $50 in here. We have been upgrading a little bit of things, so I'm going to put that rest of that $90 to make it even, but $90 for office. Then we have our beauty category. You guys might hear my dog snoring in the background. She's actually really loud right now, so if you guys hear her, I do apologize. But for beauty, I'm going to add $25. And then we have unbudgeted. Unbudgeted, we currently have $107 in here. So we'll leave this one blank too. Let's just see how much we're working with. So we did have that $725 that we budgeted for the month plus that $400. So out of this, let's start subtracting. So we're adding $100 to car insurance, minus $75 for sewer water, $100 we're subtracting for holiday, minus $20, minus $75, minus $75, minus $100, minus $25, $100, $10, $90, and then minus 25. So we still have $330 to work with. So for unbudgeted, I'm just going to add nothing in here. Unbudgeted is kind of like a cushion, I guess is the best way to say it. So technically I could empty out unbudgeted and just put it towards like medical, home, or one of the other categories, but I'm just going to keep that here for another month and just see how we look when December rolls around. Hopefully we'll be back in the positives, but I'm thinking of, we'll probably keep home negative, which is not preferable. I know I could probably change some of these categories around, but I'm just going to just flow with it and see what works. So then we have $330 to work with. So I'm going to put $30 in here. So that's going to be a positive $8 as long as we don't go on a date this month, which we won't because we normally don't, but we did last month and then we went negative. And then medical, we'll put the remaining $300. So this will be positive as well. It'll probably be negative again when the month ends because we do have some extra medical bills to pay, but we'll just see what it looks like at the end of the month. But I'm going to go ahead and add up all of the starting amounts. It should equal the same amount that we had ended with last month. Alrighty, so I added it all up and it looks perfect. So $1,294 is the start of all of our accounts. That's how much everything equals to because we did transfer over the numbers for what we ended with in sinking funds for October. So all the numbers match along with the total at the end. And then all of the numbers for what we're adding to each category matches our budget. So it's at $1,125. Since we did budget $725, but we are adding the additional $400 of extra money that we redeemed from our cash rewards. So that equals the full $1,125 that we were able to add to our sinking funds. So that is what our sinking funds is looking like. This is just really helpful for us ever since we started it for categories that we have a tendency of forgetting, or especially those one-off categories that we don't normally have to budget for. But okay, but it works out really, really well, and I don't think the sinking funds is something that we'll ever get rid of, honestly, or budgeting in general is something that we'll always do for the rest of our lives because it's such a difference when we started budgeting versus not budgeting. I used to use like an Excel sheet. I used to really enjoy it, but I always got so ahead of myself because for the Excel sheet, I would be able to kind of like alter it to show me the funds and what our situation will look like in like a couple years and stuff, and it would always throw me off, honestly. Okay, so I accidentally ripped my tea, but that is now fixed. And then I'm going to grab my last little strip here. So this sheet is now done too for the sinking funds and transaction log. I'm going to place my little header down. And then last but not least, I do want to at least put like a closing washi at the bottom just to like make everything a little bit more cohesive. And then the lines. This thick washi I'll be using for our debt payment video. I'm going to grab one of the thin washies from the weekly balance. I don't use both thin washies from the weekly balance or the weekly check-in, so that's why I'm just going to grab it from here instead. That is going to be placed at the bottom just to match the other side. Alrighty, so that is what this is looking like. I accidentally smudged it a little bit, but this transaction log, and then we have the sinking funds. I do have this transaction log primarily for the sinking funds. Of course, if you don't normally use transaction logs, you can just use this for something else, but I like to have this one and this one go hand in hand. So whenever we make a transaction and withdraw or spend from any of these categories, I like to put those transactions on this side just to keep these two together. But that is actually going to be it for this video. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully at the end of the month we'll have less negatives. But thank you guys so much as always for tuning in. I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye.